up, guys? So, excuse me a second. Let's pause that before. Anyway, I want to make a video about, I came across something, and, some old school shit. It's, some, part of my history, part of my past that is so significant, and, I wanted to go through it and show what each piece meant to me at what time. And excuse me, I'm still broken. I don't know if you can hear that. Is that a zipper? Probably ain't gonna be the cleanest video, but you know what? It's raw and it's real. Okay. Unfortunately, obviously I can't play them because of copyright strikes and all that good stuff. I tried to do that in the past and it didn't work out too well. But what I found is a small case of my old CDs. Okay? And while it's not all of them, but I think I got rid of the rest. Unfortunately, you know, I'm 33 years old now. I've done a lot of moving. I moved out of state. I've been married. I've life, okay? And unfortunately, I had to shed some things. And what this is a collection of music I was listening to probably the last time I was listening to CDs. It's just what I kept on hand because I used to have one that was one of those big ones that had like the 4 pages and then you flip it, you know. I don't have that anymore. And the last thing that I held on to was this little one right here. It's not much. It doesn't entirely encapsulate my music selection or taste, but it's gonna have to do. So, to start with, we have Tupac, All Eyes on Me, okay? And as you can see, book 1 and 2. And I think I bought this like 2 or 3 times because I would lose them or they get stolen or whatever. I'm trying to think when I first got it, you know. Honestly, another album more comes to mind. This album, I just remember it just being around. Like, my brother was a heavy influence. Him and I are on odds right now. But I had to give him credit for getting me into this type of music, you know, back when it was, you know, released or, you know, in its heyday. The next album is, what? Juicy J, Stay Trippy. Stay Trippy, sorry. I have had a few Twisted Teas. This one is not such a highlight. I got this in the midst of my addiction days. And probably not the best memories. So I'm going to gloss over that a little bit. Next. POD Satellite. This is like what, 6th, 7th grade. Start getting rock. So at my core, I love rock. Rock's my music. If I had to choose between rock or rap, I would choose rock. That's where my soul lies. But there's something to be said about hip hop, obviously, because there's a lot of it in here. But I don't know. So that album specifically a couple songs really hit home. So yeah, that I just remember hanging out with my friends in like middle school. I remember seeing the videos on MTV. Yeah, you know, I think like Youth of the Nation's on there, and specifically, I remember the words just hitting home. It was those days, man. Next, we have, hold on. I'm gonna include two. It's actually E40 and Too Short, Function Music, and then the other one's Mob Music. I'm gonna include both of them because I bought them both at the same time. I believe those were bought for me down here when I was in Texas in 2013. My ex bought them for me. And she bought them for me because she listened to these. The Blockbuster. Alright. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. I had those on heavy rotation in 2011, 2012, little 2013. I had my 97 Forerunner, Jesus, Ford Explorer, and it had a 6-disc changer in it, CD changer, and those took up 3 slots right there. And I was constantly listening to that shit. That was definitely a big one right there. So that is E40, and I got a little more of that on the way. Next, also coming from out of 2011, Bad Meets Evil. That's when Royce da 5'9" and Eminem got back together. Always been a fan of Eminem, obviously, and Royce da 5'9". So like, I got first introduced to Royce da 5'9" through excuse me, kind of thirsty. Grand Theft Auto 3 on Game FM, and I don't know, just the rawness, how they're able to project you in such a state of mind, like what they're envisioning. It was it got my attention. I don't know, like I was captured. There's no other way to put it. So that's my big thing. Next, we have Machiavelli, 7 Day 3. And honestly, that's probably the most significant album from Tupac for me, because All Eyes on Me was definitely in there, and I'm really kicking myself in the butt right now because I can't recall anything significant from those days and listening to that. But this album, I remember track 2, Hail Mary, and a lot of the other tracks, was specifically that track, and To Live and Die in LA. I remember we had a garage at my old house growing up in Sultan, and it was converted into like a game room, and the 64 was out there, and we had the TV, and we used to play GoldenEye. So we would listen to GoldenEye and also play this album at the same time, because that was the room to do it in. And so those two things are like tied together for me. Now, I consider this next album top 3 in what got me into hip hop. I was just listening to The Chronic. That, if I had to make a top 4, that'd be that's number 4 right there. Man, see, I wish I had so many more albums, but like I said, this will have to do. But right here it is, E40 in a major way. Okay, I don't know. Like, I remember just listening to this, and just the first song, it was "Sprinkle Me," that really, it just got me. I don't know, something about it, the kick, the bass, how he was pronouncing things, the words he was using. Like, he'd make up his own words, or it's E40. So like, I remember just all of it. I just remember just being fascinated by it, and this is when it came out. I'm not talking years later. I'm talking, this came out 95, I think. That's why I remember it. Okay. Next, this is where I'm kind of kicking myself, because I got Bone Thugs and Harmony Collection Volume 2. The specific ones from high school, freshman year. Holy shit, okay? Because every day of my freshman year, I was stoned, and I was listening to this on my little compact CD player, and I was just, I don't know, I was fucking out of it. The top 3 albums that I have to go with is E40 right there, like I just showed you guys. The next would have to be Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 1999. I don't have it in here, unfortunately. I already looked ahead of time. But, damn. Yeah, that's the story with those two. Next, I have Iowa, Slipknot. Slipknot, that's another thing I'm kicking myself in the butt on. Their first album that they came out with, it was the first CD, first piece of music I ever bought, and arguably the first piece of art I ever bought. And I will forever hold that close, because I think I'm pretty proud of that, to be honest. So I bought that, and then this album right here, I remember my brother bought it, but I jacked it, and I was listening to it a lot myself. And like, what rock is to me is what hip hop was to my brother, and then what hip hop was to me was what rock was to my brother. Okay, so like, we kind of, I don't know, it was different like that. But track 2, People Equal Shit. I remember that being a pretty big one. I don't know, my again, that album spoke to my soul, and I will forever hold that in one of the highest regards. Next, I have Nappy Roots. This, I don't know, something about this album really resonated with me, because I always recognize, like, what, I'm white, okay, right, and I'm from Sultan, Washington, or Everett, Washington. I'm you know, it's kind of hard to identify, right, with my top albums. Like, the closest thing might have been E40, just making things up and kind of just whatever. But something about this Nappy Roots album, like, they're like goofy and like definitely a southern vibe to it, a southern feel, and I think I really resonate with it. This is when I really came to my own when it came to hip hop music. This album right here is really when I think I bought it on impulse too. That's when I really found my own identity with resonating and, resonating with hip hop music. So that whole album, don't skip one, because it's good. Next, we have I'm sure you could probably see the next one already, but whatever. This is White Zombie. I just remember my stepdad, Dan, he used to listen to this album when my mom first hooked up with them, and he used to drive around this little red Toyota back in the day, and was it track 4, More Human Than Human, the woman orgasming and whatnot. Fuck yeah. Twista, I think that's when I started becoming a man. I think I lost my virginity at that point. I tried to get girls. I got it for slow jams. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to impress the ladies. That's definitely when I started doing shit to garner attention from the opposite sex, if you would. So, next, okay, going back to God, there's so many albums I'm missing. To Southern hip hop, and then we got Crime Mob. Okay, this album, I got shit, when did I get that? I was like 17, 18. I think I just moved out of my mom's house. First time I lived on my own. And I was trying to figure out life. Like, some of the darkest days of my life, but then also some of the most freeing. That's when I wasn't under the thumb of, like, my chaotic, crazy fucking mother at the time. And that album I used to play. And again, like, by then I'd already identified with a lot of Southern music or Southern hip hop. They didn't take themselves too seriously, but they had an energy to them and like a grit. And I don't know, like, ever since then I've been hooked. To this day, I'm still fucking bumping this shit. So it ain't no fad, that's for sure. This next album, I think that's Jesus. This was unexpected. This is the Subliminal versus Slipknot's third album. This came out my sophomore year of high school. I remember I got this album, and the very first copy, my buddy burned it for me. And I took it to school, or I got it at school, and I hadn't even taken it home yet. And this cute girl, oh my gosh, she was in my art class. She sat directly across from me. And she's like, what do you got there? I was like, oh, it's this album. She's like, can I have it? I was like, yeah. And I can't believe I meant this shit. But whatever, it's not like she's gonna see it. Or anyone else for that matter. Because this is going to my diary. This is going on my fucking absent channel. Anyway, the point is, I just had a dream about that girl last night, 2 nights ago. It was so vivid, so real. Damn. What a trip. What a trip. Anyway, I had my tonsils taken out. And that year, I had this album on repeat. And this album is one of my coming to albums, you know, about life. So that's a big one for me. The next one is Mudvayne, End of All Things to Come. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah. I just remember, like, I don't know, that's what my friends listened to. That's what some of the older guys I looked up to in the neighborhood, you know, they'd be like, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years older. And they'd all listen to rock like that, you know. Mudvayne was just one of them. One of those groups. So, I don't know, I guess I'll skip 2 and kind of wrap it all in the same one. But hell yeah, you know, same thing. Same story. Okay? Not too much more to say about that, honestly. It was I don't know, those guys though, like well, maybe, so we had a river, and like we used to go down the river and party. I was probably like 15 years old. We go down there and drink beer. You know, there's always a keg down there, like every weekend. Me and my buddy Chris would go down there and Jesus, it seems like a fucking lifetime ago. My buddy Chris used to walk down there through all these, you know, ditches and all this mud and fucking trenches and whatever you want to call it, trying to get down to the river so we can, the only light, we had no lights, no cell phones back then. We had lighters at best, and even then it was shit. You had better luck with the moonlight than you did with than that. And anyway, so that music reminds me of those days for sure. For sure. The next album is game related. Click. This is the first time I heard of E40. Tennessee Toddy, I went out my body, had a little too much to drink, almighty. God, can you show me some leeway? I'm seeing 2s on the motherfucker, a 3-way. Probably butchered that. I don't give a fuck. I'm just letting you know that, like, that was the first song that resonated with me. That's the first time I heard E40 fucking rapping, and I was just like, I like this shit. So I just want that to be documented. This whole album's good. The next, I got E40 Great and Grind. I'm not trying to knock dude. Not my favorite album. But I did give it a couple spins. I think in my early 20s. And I did pull a couple favorites off there, and I got a couple people onto it. I think End of the World is one of them. I remember this chick I was seeing at the time, she dug it, and I put her on the E40 through that song. So, I'll say that about it. And then, last but not least, this is Radiohead in Rainbows. And to end this video, that album I was on vacation from Job Corps, and I came back from Astoria, Oregon. I went back up to Everett, Washington. I was kicking with this chick, and she I remember my roommate down in Job Corps was listening to Radiohead, and this album just came out, and they were selling it for whatever. We're at Target at the Alderwood Mall in Linwood. And she's like, "Do you want that album?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "I'll get it for you." And she went there and stole it. I remember thinking, because at that time, Radiohead was releasing it for whatever you wanted to pay for it. And so she stole it. Technically, it wasn't stolen in some twisted, roundabout way. I know a lot of people are going to contest that, and I guess you have every right to. But that was just a thing. And again, that's another album that just reminds me of how far things have come. So, and I still have one of those songs on my playlist to this day. So, anyway, that's what I'm gonna wrap up. Oh, and before I go, I also want to mention my top 3 albums, top 3 hip hop albums. All right, I don't have rock albums. I don't have favorites. Honestly, too many count. But hip hop, what got me into it? Okay, the door got open. Number 3 or number 4, like I said, was The Chronic. Number 3, I would say, In a Major Way. Number 2, I would say, East 1999. And number 1 was Outkast, 18 Aliens. Okay, that's my thing. That's what got me into hip hop, and I've been listening since. So anyway, thanks for watching. That's all I got, and yeah.